I'm happy to be here this morning with all of you. It's, I think, a good opportunity to get together and for me to meet some people that I have met before again and to meet some new people, so I appreciate the opportunity very much. I want to try to do three things. One is I'd like to sort of extend Jeff's introduction a little bit and answer a question that I've been asked many times in the past 3 weeks, which is why did I join DOE? So I want to talk to that. And I'd also like to talk a little bit about what's going on at what I see going on at DOE today and what I see kind of in the future as some major kinds of topical areas that we'll be exploring there. So the reason I joined DOE is really the combination of what I would call a set of inflection points and a Bruce Cockburn song. I don't know how many of you are my generation and like Bruce Cockburn, but I'll try to link that in here in a minute. So in terms of inflection points, I've been in the industry for 40 years and had a terrific career, really. I've gotten to do a little bit of everything. But I reached the point last year where I was very retirement eligible and where my team in the technology group at Duke, I've always gone into new jobs with the idea that I wanted to build an organization that could do without me. And they were at a point where they were ready to fly without me. So it seemed like an ideal opportunity for me to kind of enter the next adventure. And so I took it. The reason that I think the timing is very right for being at DOE has to do also with the number of inflection points, not personal in this case, but more industry and political. In the industry landscape, as I'm sure most of you are aware, we're in an era where we're replacing aging plant. So we've got some key decisions to make around what do we replace with. And as we do that, how do we maintain a balanced portfolio and how do we actually improve our ability to manage our water, our air, and our climate as we do that upgrading of facilities on the generation side. We're also in an era where the developing world is energizing and they're consuming more and more energy, burning more and more fuels. So there are great opportunities, in my opinion, on a global basis to begin some very serious and significant partnerships that have actually were, I think, very much accelerated by President Obama and President Xi's agreement on climate just a few months ago. So some exciting things going on there. Of course, we're in an era where there's continuing focus on modernizing the grid and bringing new resources into the mix, both on the supply side and the demand side as relates to the grid. And we have a number of changing business models out there today. Shale gas, I think, for many of us, me at least, was a huge curveball. Didn't see it coming in advance, and now that it's here, it really has the potential to continue, I think, over time to change a number of business models in the energy industry. So those all make it kind of a prime time, an exciting time, I think, to be involved in an arena that enables us to do some really groundbreaking work around energy and fossil energy in particular. The political landscape, I was really, really pleased after Secretary Moniz began speaking publicly as Secretary that he continuously articulated and continues to articulate an emphasis on all of the above as kind of an approach to the energy challenges we face. And I couldn't agree more, with that approach. I think there are some in the public arena who think all renewable is an approach. There are others who might think all natural gas is an approach, but really all of the above is what it's going to take. So it's really compelling to have a leader who articulates that as forcefully as the Secretary does. I mentioned the agreement between President Obama and President Xi. I think that really puts a stake in the ground as we move toward Paris. And I think international partnerships are going to be an area ripe for advancing the technologies that we need into the future. I'm also really, really impressed by the people that have been assembled at DOE today. So this is the third day of my third week, which is good for me because if you guys ask me questions I don't know, I'll be able to say, wait, I'm too new, I don't know that yet. But that escape aside, there's just a terrific group of people at DOE. I spent yesterday at the National Energy Technology Lab, and I was equally impressed, continue to be impressed by the quality of the fundamental research going on in the national labs and how it all is being pulled together via DOE. I think we have an opportunity to lay the groundwork for the future. So I'm a political appointee, and I think I have a sense for what that means in terms of how much time I have to really accomplish something. But I really think that we're in a wonderful window right now when I believe that we can lay a significant foundation that will continue into the future. And to bring it back to Bruce Coburn, a friend of mine asked me that question: why was I choosing to come to DOE? And there's a Bruce Coburn song, maybe you know it as well. It's called "The Broken Wheel," and one of the lyrics that's always stuck in my mind is, "No adult of sound mind can be an innocent bystander." And I think that applies. It certainly does for me. So in terms of what's going on at DOE today, there's a very compelling landmark that we're about to achieve, and we will achieve by the end of the week. And that is, we will have safely injected 10 million tons of CO2 in deep geological formations across the U.S. In CCS projects and regional partnerships and demonstration partnerships that have all been supported by DOE. That's a huge landmark in my mind. I was aware when I was with Duke, of course, and participated in the Midwest sequestration partnership. And we even had a small sequestration project at our East Bend site in northern Kentucky, where we injected 3,000 pounds of CO2. So my headset was kind of, okay, thousands of pounds. Well, we're at millions of tons. So I think that's very significant and really lays a good groundwork going forward. That, by the way, is the equivalent of removing 2 million cars from the roads for a year, which is another way to put it into context. There is continuing work, I think, to figure out how to extend and expand and really enable that kind of management of CO2 to continue and expand. But another number that I ran into just the other day that impressed me was today, roughly 5% of U.S. oil production is a result of enhanced oil recovery. That's significant, and I think that as we continue to look for more opportunities for that in my enhanced oil recovery in my mind is one of the real opportunities as a bridge between where we are today and where we need to go in the future with ultimate storage of CO2. So I was thrilled to see that number. I want to mention some of the major projects that are either in operation or soon to be in operation that there are really some good things to say about. One is the Petronova project that went from 60 megawatts to 240 megawatts based on project economics alone. The 60 megawatts was DOE supported. The 240 megawatts was a business decision. So that's a terrific kind of example of how things are moving forward. As is the Air Products project in Port Arthur, Texas, where they're capturing greater than 90% of the CO2 from hydrogen production and have stored about 1.8 million tons. And the Arthur Daniels Midlands project and the storage and saline aquifer in the Illinois Basin from ethanol production is another example of a kind of a robust project that in this case is not EOR related and not directly power generation related. On the global front, there are a number of very interesting and robust activities in the CCUS, the carbon capture, utilization, and storage arena, and a number of countries that are either already engaged with DOE or in discussion with DOE on the potential for significant projects. Some of those countries include Norway, Canada, China, Japan, the United Kingdom, and Algeria, who already are engaged with DOE in some way. And there are discussions, continuing discussions with the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and about to be with Indonesia, where I'm going in about a week and a half. So I think there are some really wonderful opportunities there. What I see there, and I don't know how many of you know this, but when I was at Duke, one of my missions at Duke was in fact to lay down a set of international relationships for technology development. And it made sense in the private sector. I think it makes sense in the public sector because in this country, we're kind of built out. We're in a replacement mode, I think, in the U.S. for the foreseeable future. But in some of the other countries, such as China, and even some of the countries in the Middle East, we're really in a more groundbreaking greenfield situation. And in particular in China, so much energy infrastructure is being built so quickly across, at such scale, really, that there's just a huge opportunity to learn from observation how best to scale some of these technologies.